Unleash your potential. Unleash your potential. Reach for the stars. Electric dreams align. Show them who you are. Unleash your potential. Yo, 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 let's go. 1, 2, 3. Unleash your growth. Embrace the vibe, set it free, your potential unlocked, just believe. Psychedelic journeys, hearts aligned, step into the future, greatness redefined. Unleash your potential, set your dreams free. In a world of stars, become who you want to be. Stand tall in the storm, embrace the rain, ride the wave of success, break every chain. Welcome to Unleash your potential. Yo, 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 let's go. 1, 2, 3. Unleash and grow. Embrace the vibe. Set it free. Your potential unlocked. Just believe. Unleash your potential. Unleash your potential, reach for the stars, electric dreams align, show them who you are, unleash your potential.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you that you joined us again another week for Unleash Your Potential. We are grateful that we are back, and all glory and honor unto God who has kept watch over us and has given us the energy, the time, and every other thing as an institution to get you motivated, unleash your potential. Good morning again, and thank you so very much. We can appreciate you the more. I'm Sam Andrews.
Psychedelic journey, hearts aligned, step into the future, greatness redefined. Unleash your potential, set your dreams free. In a world of stars, become who you want to be.
You cannot become who you want to be when you don't know who you are. You only become what you want to be when you know who you are. Who you are, the potential imputed, and it only means you have to unleash it. When you unleash it, then you see the future. You see yourself, and that self, it's you, and the future is you. Another full week, and then this Saturday. Hope everyone is faring well. Again, we are grateful to God that we have come into this day by His covering, His grace, His providential care. Another cycle is about to come to a close, and then a new one opens. This morning, since we've got couple of days to transition, I thought to talk about, let's talk about decision. And here is the motivation for every one of us: the decision that will unlock your future 2026. The decision that will unlock your future 2026. Have no expectation that I'm about to make a decision for you or give you a decision. Certainly not. The decision is with you. My role, our role as an institution, is to provide the guide, the way forward, the pieces of advice. Ultimately, the decision rests with you. It doesn't rest with me. Individually, everyone has his or her own decision to make. No one makes decision for another person. But whatever the relation a person can give his or her pieces of advice, you got that ultimate responsibility. And that decision you will make, it will unlock your future 2026. Thank you all again for joining in. Can appreciate all of you the more. You are so great, so massive, so extraordinary. Let's get started because time is of the essence. Thank you for coming on, all of you great people. I appreciate all of you. Pastor Isaac Wise, thank you for coming on. Hope that you are faring well. All of you great people. We are about to fade out of a cycle of 365 days called 2025, and we'll be entering another season of 365 days referred to as 2026. 365 days, not small of a number by the standard of number. Another 365 days. You want to look back over your life. Look at those 365 days, each day constituting 24 hours, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. Just do a self drill, since life entirely involves decision making. Look back over those 365 days, meaning look at yourself, how you were in those 365 days. What it does is it gives you a perspective of what lies ahead, what many people refer to as the future. 365 days 2025 and 365 days 2026. It is simply leaving the unknown and crossing over, leaving the known and crossing over to the unknown. Most often, at the close of the year or when the year is coming to an end, you hear this expression cross over, crossing over. It is said mainly in religious cycles. You see flyers, billboards, you hear announcements, people crisscross the community. You will hear church members using that expression. You hear pastors use that. It is a good expression, but very many people just see it as a transition, moving from 365 days to another 365 days. So there is the motivation, there's the excitement to see the next 365 days. That's how most people understand it. And that is good. That is their understanding. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond just being motivated, excited, spirited for 365 days, 2026. The expression, the typical meaning or reality or the etymology or history of the expression crossover is not only the excitement or leaving from the known to the unknown. Ultimately, it involves decision making. That's what the expression is all about. Let me impute a biblical insight. If you uh, if you have been reading the Bible, if you are an ardent reader of the Bible, you will come across various transitions. Those transitions, by whatever the nature, whatever the multitude, the magnitude, the place geographically, they center on one thing ultimately, decision making. That's what crossover is all about. Leaving the known into the unknown. The known is where we are. All of us know about 2025. You know what you experienced in 2025, what you saw, interactions, breakthroughs, and on and on. All of those things, you can do a litany or a long list without squashing your head. You can use less than no time to explain several that happened in 2025 in your life, be it relationship, you're in the academia, and whatever the sphere of life, you can explain in a twinkling of an eye, just like a river running down or water running down the river. You don't need to squash your head. It's because you are aware of all of those things. What you are not aware of, what I am not aware of, is the unknown. The unknown is uncharted territory. You do not know the territory 2026, but you do know the territory 2025. Hence, how you going to get into 2026? It is not about whether you will enter 2026. That is not your responsibility. That responsibility lies with God. And that is why he set the season 365 days, whatever the number. But that is not your responsibility. Your responsibility, my responsibility, is with decision making. Leaving the unknown, leaving the known, moving to the unknown. That what crossover is all about. And ultimately, it involves or has to do with one thing very significantly, decision making. And I'm not talking about relative decision making. I'm talking about decision making that will unlock your future in whatever the area, business, relationship, academic, medical, religious, organizational, whatever. All of those transitions, please, if you are an ardent reader of the Bible, look at it. All of those transitions, leaving the known to the unknown, the focus principally on the unknown with decision making. They weren't concerned with the known because they were already in the known and they had not to think about the known because they knew the known. They were concerned about the unknown. They were headed into uncharted territory. And when you are headed into uncharted territory, only one thing required: decision making. And that decision you will make will determine whether you remain revolving, expand, retrogress, or advance. So we enter the future by making decision, and that decision, depending on how and why it is made, will ultimately decide or give you the future you foreshadow or not. Again, in this lecture, the decision that will unlock your future 2026, not relative. I'm not talking about relative decision or peripheral decision or sentimental decision where people just get motivated. They are excited. Oh, I will do this. I'm going to do that. But it's not a well thought out decision, not serious at all. It's just a sentiment, just feeling. It's not that kind of decision I'm talking about. Transition is not something to overlook. So, what is decision? We can go further without first knowing what decision is. What is decision? Well, it is simply the conclusion or choice reached after considering various options. That's what decision is. The conclusion or choice reached after considering several or various options. Why is it like that? Because life provides various options, and you have to make a choice. Life is all about choice making. Choice making is the same as decision making. Decision is also a plan or action one finds good or right to do. Decision, a plan or action one finds good or right to do. You've heard about the phrase decision making. You've heard that. You've used that many times in different ways. What it is, there is decision and decision making. Why decision making? Why the phrase decision making? It's because it involves selecting a course of action or belief from several options. It involves identifying a need, gathering information, weighing or analyzing those options that one has, and then making the final point on the right thing to do or the right action to take. What we have before us with this little explanation: process. It takes time, and that is why it is called decision making. Decision making, or a decision or action, doesn't just come suddenly or just happen suddenly, or the person wants it to happen suddenly. Those are mediocre, peripheral, or relative decision, not a decision bolder or centered on the future. So it is not analyzed. Just say, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to move to this place, and we will do this, we will do that, just like those diaspora Jews and James, that took a mediocre, peripheral decision, a relative one, and they did not achieve their goal. It was purely sentimental. That's not the kind of decision I'm talking about. Going into a new year, you can position yourself for effective decision making. It rests with nobody but you. How do you do that? By developing a foresight, adapting to the current situation where you find yourself. Adaptability is key. And then purpose driven action. Your decision or your action should be based on purpose. Proactively move with a potential change or changes, if need be, as per your situation in the present, which will define you going into that cycle ahead of us, 365 days, leaving the known to the unknown, 2026. Don't get yourself wrong or say St. Andrews is confusing us when we know 2026 and then he keeps saying future unknown. It's because 2026 is supernatural. 2026 is set out by the creator, but he didn't say how 2026 going to be. He didn't give a plan, a whole plan for 2026, that the 365 days, this is how it's going to be with you. In fact, the very God tells us not to brag of the future, because he said we do not know the future. He gave us the season and he gave name to the season. Just like you have your child, you bring your child onto the stage and you give the child name. But what's going to happen beyond there rests with you. So he has given the year or the season, and then he gave the name 2025, 2026. But he did not say, yeah, each person on the earth, yeah, it's your marching order, how you ought to go, what you're going to experience, and how you're going to experience it, and how you need to approach this situation, and how you need not to approach XYZ situation. He didn't say that. He even added spice. He said, do not boast, do not brag of the future. And then he gave the reason what I'm talking about. Don't know the future, because the future is the unknown. He said, for you do not know what the morrow brings. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 1. Do not boast of tomorrow. Then he said, you do not know what the morrow brings. What is he explaining? The unknown. We can boast of today because we are in today, but we can boast of tomorrow. What we do, we plan for tomorrow with the kind of decision that is necessary. It all starts with self-examination. Set specific. Firstly, examine yourself. The guys will take time to look at themselves, weigh several options when they were transitioning from the known to the unknown, from the current to the future, moving into uncharted territory. You cannot unlock the future 2026 when you have no time to do self-evaluation or self-examination. That is key. It's very significant. You want to look back over the season 2025 and take a clear picture of how you were.
whether on achievements, setbacks, whatever. Doing that gives you a perspective of the future, meaning you will know what kind of decision to take, how to take that decision, and when to take it. And then set specific, relevant, and achievable time-bound plan for the future or the year. You want to do that. It is very key, very significant. Set specific, relevant, and achievable time-bound plan for the year. As you do it with nobody in mind. Don't think about the next person. Don't think about the next institution. Don't think about who has made a breakthrough ahead of you. Think about what you want for yourself and not what the next person is thinking about you. When you cannot do a self-evaluation, you tailor your life after other people. You take on what you see of them to make that informed decision why you aren't advancing, and you will sometimes, like people would do, reach the conclusion that God isn't satisfied with them, or somebody may have done X, Y, Z, but no. Decision unlocks the future. Whatever you want, whatever, it all starts from here, and it comes out, it's actualized, and then there is the ultimate or the result. Don't overwhelm yourself. Unlocking the future 2026, which is the unknown in your decision making. Don't overwhelm yourself with many plans. Don't do that. Don't overwhelm yourself with many plans. Decision making is not about competition. You aren't on the track. You are not an athlete. No, you're not competing against a rival team on the football pitch. You're not engaging into any competition. Decision making is not about competition. Don't overwhelm yourself with many plans if you should unlock your future 2026. Hear what you do. Develop a plan. I said a plan. There's the indefinite article. A plan. Develop a plan. Work on it real good. Analyze it well. Give yourself time to leave it alone and then get back to it. And then begin to experiment that decision. Why must you experiment? So that you take off what might be potential hindrance or hindrances. That's the reason people experiment. It helps them to see and say, oh, look, this one, okay, let's get this one out. Oh, okay, had we gone, we would have encountered this problem. Now we can take this out, or we can insert or inject this. That's the reason for experimenting. People do that everywhere, in the office, at the business center, and just everywhere. Immediately you find that in the office of the boss, a decision is explained to the boss, and he looks at it and says, okay, give me time. By the time he or she has analyzed it, and then calls that person or people and say, okay, let's get it this way. Let's get it into action. Let's see. But this is not what we're going to use ultimately, meaning we have not arrived at the final decision. But let's give it a try. That's what experimentation is. At the close of the day, you have what you want. And then, when you've done that, make sure you achieve it. When you are successful with it, move to the next level. Don't develop many plans going into uncharted territory, the unknown 2026. Many people do that and they don't achieve. And they soon start to shift blame or feel some way uncomfortable within themselves, wrestling against themselves, and sometimes shifting blame and even putting the blame on the year. That 2026, the way 2026, 2026 now a good year for me. It's not, no. And when you say that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you have already concluded or you prophesy a situation, a time that is not against you, but because you made the wrong decision and you have not realized that you made the wrong decision. So when the odds are against you and you conclude that the year is against, year does not go against people. People just falter in the season. Year is just a season. Know this as we gradually wind down on the decision that will unlock your future 2026. The new year will inevitably, no doubt, come with unexpected temptations, trials, setbacks, ups and downs. Why all of those, Sam Andrews? It's because it is unknown. That's the reason it is called unknown. At this point, when you are aware that all of these will come, these stimuluses will no doubt come because no one plans for it. It is natural. It is part of humanity. They weren't imputed by God, but they were developed by situations or they evolved by situations from the thought to action. They created by humanity. Ultimately, you have trials, temptations, breakthroughs, setback. All of these things will be happening because you don't know the future. So what you do, brace yourself for them. It doesn't say that you are a pessimist or you are faithless, nor are you not cognizant of the future. Certainly not. It only means that you are that futuristic thinker. Hence, when these things start to unfold, you are already knowledgeable. You are already aware. So they wouldn't be a surprise to you. What you will be doing now is finding a solution to get those off so that they don't hinder your plan. You want to position yourself to see new changing circumstances, and that's going to happen. It comes with every year, every day, every hour. New changing circumstances. See them as opportunities. You're going to see as you enter in a couple of days into the unknown, this season 2026, you're going to see circumstances, changing circumstances. You're going to see all of those. Hear what you need to put on. See them as opportunities. Not just opportunities, but opportunities to refine your goal. Not as failures. Don't see them as failures. People, by the time something happens, oh, I can't make it again. I stop in this thing here. I can't understand. Let me insert this, people. If you are that person that loves to complain, wrestle within and against yourself, shift blame on people, create a saying by which people should sympathize and empathize with you, when you have faltered, you will never get a good life, because that's what you will be. And that's how some people are on this earth, in this country presently. Never attempt to shift blame. Over the weeks, we lay emphasis on taking responsibility. That is the reason why God imputed everything, the five senses and intelligent quotient. You have to use the mind. The mind is not to be used loosely, not to give it anything mediocre, but it's serious thinking. Don't shift blame. Don't create the impression that people will sympathize and empathize with you by impression. They will feel, yes, this thing is happening. The person isn't doing this, or hasn't done this, or is not making this progress because of this, because of that. You have those praise, empathizing. But how empty is that? All of those people that will be sympathizing and empathizing with you, they're making progress. They're taking their decision. They're only helping you to bring the emptiness out of you. When you can concentrate on yourself, whether it happens right, it didn't happen right, you sit down and analyze it well. Look at it. Take responsibility. Own up. If there is a failure, which failure is not failure until there is no turn to it, then it becomes a failure. Own up. If there is a challenge, and there will always be a challenge in life, in anything, every area, own up to it. We go through different challenges, at King's every day. But guess what? We use our individual and collective mentor and overcome the challenge. And ultimately, the institution moves from one level to another. That's what you do. You think. Don't shift blame. Don't put blame on people. Don't use situation as the trump card for people to sympathize with you that this isn't working for you because of this situation, or because the year isn't just good. Don't do that. Everything in your life, take responsibility. Go into your room, lock your door, and begin to evaluate, find out. In positioning yourself, as we want to unlock the future 2026, don't think of failure, and don't include failure in your decision making. Don't think of it, don't include it. When you think of failure, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy is where a person thinks negatively of himself, going into a future, or what he or she wants. It is what is referred to as fear. And the fear becomes so intense that the person doesn't see the need to take the risk, but just sit back and make no attempt. It already happened, and people can't understand their life. Yeah, when you put your hand in the one, you fail. You put your hand in the one, you fail. May I just sit down now? Maybe that how God signed my life. Don't do that. Don't think of failure. Failure is not a failure. Failure only becomes a reality in your life when you nurture it, you nurse it. Then it becomes a failure. There is nothing that is so strong of a giant that can hold you back. You are stronger than the giant. Your strength, more than the giant, your mind, your decision making. There is nothing that can overwhelm you in life. Things overwhelm people because they allow it to overwhelm them. The mind is so powerful, so sophisticated. There isn't any weapon that is so sophisticated to overcome any giant, no matter the size, form, or shape, than the mind. Don't think of failure as you head into 2026. Let it not be a part of your plan. If you impute failure in your plan, like people will say, oh, this thing, I will not make it, man. I will not make it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Meaning, you prophesy it unto yourself, and then it becomes the reality. There is the fulfillment of it because you said it. Don't even include failure in your decision making. When you are making decision, don't say, I will not be successful with this one. This one might be this, might be that. No, don't do it. When you reach that in your mind, you put that in your mind, you're not going to achieve your goal. You're not going to unlock your future. Before you can make new decisions for 2026, do a careful review or assessment of the past year. Do a careful assessment of the past year's successes. If there was a challenge, success, breakthrough, failure, setbacks, whatever, just do a careful review of your past 365 days. If you were successful throughout the 365 days, it doesn't say that you're going to be successful throughout the 365 days, 2026. It only means you have to maintain what you achieved 365 days, 2025, and look with caution, which means careful thought of the future, 365 days, 2026. The world has the testimony of people successful from January 1 to December 31st. They weren't concerned with any caution of the unknown. They put on the illusion that the successes will continue into the following year. And then ultimately, the following year comes with all kinds of stuff. You have heard people say, oh, 2024 was successful. 2024 was good year with me. 2024, it was good. But 2025, I know what happened. Things just going better with me. The other 2025 part, I don't think that my year. When you hear people say that, it's because they were overwhelmed with the successes and not cautious of the coming year. That's why it is always unknown. And because the man who created all of us, he did not reveal anything to us, he left it as a mystery, but gave the caution of how we should think, decision making, when he said, do not boast of the future, because you do not know what tomorrow brings. You do not know what every year brings, but you are aware. So he was simply saying, just in my own way now, that if you knew 2025 and you were successful in 2025, be cautious going into 2026 because you do not know what 2026 is going to be. Do a review. Just like Paul would say in Romans 12:1, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God. What he meant by that expression is this: look back over your life, see all that God did for you, and then you make a decision moving into the unknown, the uncharted. Look back over your life. That is a fact because he inserted the word mercies, mercies. He did not insert the word mercy, mercy. Look it up. He inserted the word mercies, mercies, meaning look back over your life, all the successes that you had from this man, and going into uncharted territory, you need to take a decision. That whole Romans 12:1 is about decision making. He's talking about decision. Look back over your life. Look back over your cycle 2026, 2025. See, you were successful all through. Yes, everyone wants to be successful throughout their existence. But we don't have control over it throughout. But you can look at your successes and say, we are transitioning into 2026. We don't know what it's going to bring. Let's be very cautious. Not analyzing the past year blindfolds you of the future. If you can analyze the past year, it blindfolds you of the future. And that too many people in this country, too many people in the world have testimonies of that. They are witnesses. They refuse to analyze the past, comfortable with all that they've achieved, with the understanding it's going to continue in the next year, not being cautious that the next year is unknown. If you can analyze your past year, it blindfolds you of the future. Look at what decision you made in the past. Look at what decision you made in the past year that worked well and which did not work well. Sit down. It's what they call self-evaluation, or whichever way you can term it. You want to sit down, and this is unto everybody, but not everybody does it, except for few. Look at what decision you made in 2025 that worked well with you in whatever the area, the business, the office, academia, whatever the area that worked well and which did not work well. Why is that? Because it would then now put you in the position to know how to take, or what kind of decision to take, or how to reevaluate, redefine. Know that you cannot do everything. Develop key decisions and actions as we wind down, and then direct your energy and resources there. What you have developed, you find it to be right, direct your time, energy, and resources towards it. Again, don't overwhelm. Going into uncharted territory 2026, going into the unknown, Don't overwhelm yourself with many plans. Develop a plan, analyze it well, experiment it, then you get ready to actualize it for achievement. When you achieve it, then you move to the next. Don't take 2, 3, 4 plans, executing them at once. Don't get yourself, don't be that overwhelmed perfectionist. Don't think that you can perfect all of your plans just around the same time. It is not possible. What you shouldn't do in positioning yourself for the future, keep your decisions or plans to yourself. In positioning yourself for the future, the decision that will unlock your future 2026, keep your decisions or plans to yourself. Do not go about town crying them. Do not go about town crying them or trumpeting. It is normal in our culture, and very many people don't achieve. And guess what? They blame people. They blame the year. They even blame God and blame Satan. But they would not look at themselves. Listen, you are living and you can evaluate yourself. You can examine yourself. Perfecting yourself or portraying yourself as that perfect person in everything, that you have no fault. The fault comes from outside, from people, from situation, from the year. You will never, ever be the kind of person or achieve what you want. One of the easiest ways to get your goal working, when you can examine yourself and take responsibility. Don't go about town crying or trumpeting your plan or your decision to people. Don't do that. It is not everybody to know your future plans. It is not for everybody to know your future plan. You are not a community project. Your decision is not a community project proposal for appraisal by people. It concerns you, the future, and the future is you, and you are the future, and it all becomes the real future from the decision you take. Don't go, if you develop a plan to unlock your future by the decision you make going into the uncharted 2026, the unknown 2026, don't cry, town cry, don't trumpet, don't broadcast your plan. Not everybody ought to know. It is your responsibility. It is you. It's not the next person. People have this tendency, when they develop a plan, they take it to almost everybody. Almost everybody they take it to. Keep it to yourself. And then there is one good person close to you that you can share that with. However, you will need future guy. And that's the one good person I'm about to talk about. I don't know that person. You know that person. You have your life. You know where you are. I know where I am. You will need your future guide who will keep you on track with your plans, and not just anybody or everybody. I can tell you who that person is because I do not know, but I know about myself. You know yourself. And so that person is unto you by your knowledge. My responsibility, our responsibility as an institution, to keep you on track with the pieces of advice. You will need future guy who will keep you on track with your plans, and not just anybody or everybody. The quality of your decisions, the quality of your decision is directly tied to the kind of future you want. Meaning, the decision that you will take will determine the kind of future that you set out for yourself. Don't be too optimistic or hopeful of the future. Don't be too optimistic or hopeful of the future, but move with caution in it. Again, it doesn't say you are faithless. It is no act of cynicism, no act of self-fulfilling prophecy. It only means you don't know what lies ahead, and it is ultimately true. What lies ahead, no one knows, but we brace ourselves to get into it. And then here is the conclusion of this lecture: the decision that will unlock your future 2026. Your best decision reflects your value. Your best decision reflects your value. Think of every decision as a big decision. Think of every decision as a big decision. The size doesn't matter. Forget about anything magnitudinal or tiny or small. Big decision. What do I mean by that expression, big decision? Meaning, see it as very significant. The size does not matter. See it as very significant. Think of every decision to unlock your future going into 2026 as big decision, very significant and achievable. Lastly, your best decision is birth, and ought to be birth, and ought to live always in prayer. Big decision going into uncharted territory, unknown, puts it before God. Develop no plan whatsoever and leave God out. Every decision you make going into uncharted territory 2026, every decision you make going into the unknown with a crossover 2026, committed to God. Don't make the mistake those diaspora Jews made, and ultimately all of their plans were shattered. It is against that backdrop that James will caution them in the closing line when he said, say, if God permits, we will do this, we'll do that, we'll go to this place where. Going into 2026, unknown territory, uncharted territory, the unknown, take a decision. Transitioning is all about decision. Again, please learn this. The expression crossover is not merely of excitement. It simply means decision making. Going into a place that you don't know. What is there? How it's going to be? It centers on decision. And the kind of decision will determine how you navigate that unknown territory. That is what crossover is all about. When you hear the expression, it is a biblical reference for people coming out from a known place, going into an unknown place. That's what crossover is all about. And the main reason of that expression is decision making. It's not just excitement. In our culture today, people are just excited. They are excited. Say 2026 coming. 2026, yeah, everybody excited. At the close, at the beginning, they chant this expression, say, oh, Happy New Year, Monaba, Happy New Year. They are motivated, they are excited. Because that is their understanding. But the real meaning of the expression crossover means leaving the known to the unknown. It's just like you're leaving from here. You're going into a country that you have never been before. You have not heard much of that place, yet you are going into it. You can say to yourself, you're going to just start moving all around. You'll be cautious because it is an unknown territory to you. That's what it is. When you take that decision, committed to God, and that's what he meant in Proverbs 3. When he said, committed unto me, and I will order your steps, I will direct you. Going into uncharted territory 2026, unknown 2026, every decision you make committed unto God. Don't make the mistake of those diaspora Jews. If you are a Christian, use that as a guide. Don't make the mistake of those diaspora Jews in James chapter 4. Don't make that mistake. They felt that they could make decision without God. They could mark place without God. They could make profit without God. They could do just any and everything without God. And James saw the disaster as they had planned to move into unknown territory and said, say, if God permits. And that's why he started with this caution. What is your life? You can be excited for 2026. There were too many people who were excited for 2025 and nothing. Nothing, absolutely. In terms of life, they are beneath the earth. This is not to make you scared. I'm just telling you why decision is necessary. You ought to make a decision, and that decision should be significant. Don't just be excited, motivated for crossing over. Crossing over is a biblical reference for decision making. You leaving what you know and going into a time or place that you don't know. It requires a decision, and the kind of decision you make will determine whether you have a successful in that unknown place or not. The decision that will unlock your future 2026. Thank you all for being with us. That's all the time we've got for Unleash Your Potential on Kings 88.5. Thank you that you can allow Kings 88.5 to get you motivated. We appreciate it. Please keep us in your company. Kings 88.5, Unleash Your Potential, returns next week, Saturday, 2026, if God permits. Join us on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock for Focus on Christianity. The emphasis, again, will be on decision-making using James and those diaspora Jews, the decision that they took. It will be all James chapter 4. That will be the emphasis on tomorrow, if God permits. Focus on Christianity from 9 to 10. Join Kings 88.5 for that, please. Thank you ever so much. I'm Sam Andrews.
Unleash your potential.